Good evening, everybody. This is Matt Kramer here, and I'm back with more Star Trek opinions based on the episodes of the seasons, the 7 seasons. Tonight's video, we're going to cover the rest of the series. We're going to do seasons 5, 6, and 7. So, this will be a pretty long one. The last one, which recapped season 1 and 2 with season 3 and 4, that's 2.5 hours. So we may have that much time this evening as well. So let's start with actually let's start with Darmok because when you got 2-parter episodes, I count them as one. So redemption is for me is one. Redemption 1 and 2 are should be construed as one. Unification, same thing. 1 and 2, I label as one. So I said last time for Redemption Part 1 and 2, Worf's best, Michael Dorn's best, one of his best performances of the season is Redemption Part 1 and 2, and also Sins of the Father from season 3. Um, oh gosh, we'll get to this episode a little later. Oh gosh, what's the name of it now? Shoot, we'll get to it. Sorry. Uh, Birthright. That's the one. Okay. Let's skip Redemption Part 2, but it was cool to see Sela, Denise Crosby. The second time we see Denise Crosby, the first time we see Sela, Denise Crosby playing Sela is this one. We see her in the end of Part 1, but we see her more involved in Part 2. So Denise Crosby, good job. Next is Darmok. This Darmok episode was a little weird because Paul Winfield, the late great Paul Winfield, plays Darmok, and his alien species, spoke through metaphors, and they captured Picard and Darmok, and Darmok is trying to get Picard's help in defeating some strange dinosaur looking, like a triceratops looking alien. We don't really see him, more of like a silhouette type, cloaked silhouette type monster. But it's interesting at the very end, as Darmok unfortunately is dying from his injuries. We get to hear Picard, Patrick Stewart, tell the story of Gilgamesh. Um, so that's kind of cool. And it takes a while for Picard to understand the type of speech that Darmok is giving. This one, of course, we know Paul Winfield as the captain from the Reliant. I forget his name. But this is, and of course the lieutenant from the first Terminator movie. And he also played Martin Luther King Jr. back in the day, long before LeVar Burton ever did. So this is a good episode for Paul Winfield, the late great Paul Winfield. But this is the only episode Paul Winfield ever does for Next Gen, and unfortunately, it's the only one. What? Let me find out. Actually, let me find out when Paul Winfield passed. I think Paul Winfield passed away early 2000s. I want to say. Where is Paul Winfield? Paul Winfield. Let's go down here. Clark Terrell. Yeah, that's him. It's Captain Clark Terrell from Star Trek Two, Wrath-Con. Paul Winfield passed away. Oh wow, yeah, early 2000, 2004. Wow, wow. Okay, yeah, 2000. Yeah. Hmm. Julia Child that passed away in 2004. Ray Charles and Ronald Reagan passed away in 2004. So, but this is Darmok was a good. Oh, I'm sorry. Darmok was a good episode. Um, for all the people involved, but especially for Paul Winfield. Go back to the top here. There we go. Make sure I'm sharing the screen. Okay. Next episode is Ensign Rowe. We see Michelle Forbes as Ensign Rowe, I believe, for the first time. We saw her as we saw Michelle Forbes as the daughter of oh, from the daughter of this doctor um, in Half a Life. This is the name of the episode. We saw her as the daughter. Michelle Forbes, we see her as Rola Aaron for the first time. She's a rebellious lady. She's a rebellious officer. And later she turns out to be a Maquis sympathizer and then a member of the Maquis. Um, but this is a good episode for Michelle where she tells Picard the story of her watching her father being tortured to death by Cardassians, I believe it was. And she is the she's not the first Bajoran we see. I think Ensign Tito was the first. Ensign Tito was the first Bajoran we saw in Star Trek. But Michelle Forbes is by besides Kieran Reese, Michelle Forbes is one of them. Ensign Rowe is one of the more famous Bajorans that we see, besides um, Nana Visitor. So, but this is a good episode, and I love the advice that Guinan gives to all the characters, whether it's Rolaren, Mr. Worf, Mr. Picard, Captain Picard, especially in Measure for Man, um, for Picard, talking to Picard. Yeah, but good episode. Next one is Silicon Avatar. Ah, we see the crystalline entity. This is when the not not the mother, but a different doctor um had an acquaintance with Dr. Soong, I believe, and she heard I believe she was one of the colonists that escaped, I think, but I think her son was killed when the crystalline entity attacked. I think so. Someone who's more knowledgeable of Star Trek may correct me on this, but this is the episode where the crystalline entity is destroyed by the work of the Doctor, who comes aboard. Um, this acknowledges who is this? What's her name? Blah 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 blah. Dr. Keela Mar. Keela Mar, yeah, that's her name. So I think her son's name was Remy, Raymond, Rennie. Yeah, yeah. I believe he was one of the colonists that was killed when the crystalline entity attacked back on Omicron. I think it was the attack was on Omicron Theta, and Rennie died. I think so. But this is a good episode for Data for Brent Spiner, and we finally get to see the crystalline entity destroyed. The Enterprise was trying to communicate with it, and Dr. Marr had different plans, and she won. Unfortunately, she won. Good episode though. Next, after Silicon Avatar, is Disaster. Disaster is where this is probably one of Patrick Stewart's best episodes too, because he gets trapped in uh a turbolift, and he's got three kids, a girl and two boys, who were finalists in some kind of science project on the Enterprise. And because he's out of contact with the bridge and everyone else, to the oldest girl, the only girl, but the oldest child, the oldest contestant is made, quote unquote, the young number one, and the two boys are made ensigns, I think, or cadets. Uh, it's a cute episode. Um, Ro is back, of course, in this one as well, and Troy. If we this is the first time that Troy Marina Sirtis is in charge of the Enterprise. Um, Riker is some other part of the ship, I believe. So he's of no. Riker is in. I think was Riker in 10 forward. I think he was. Yeah, sounds about right. We get, of course, we got calm meeting in there too. So this is a good. This is a good episode. It's a really good episode. Probably one of Patrick Stewart's best. Next, after the game, Wesley Crusher comes back. He falls in love with Judd daughter at I think it's Ashley Judd. I think it's Ashley Judd. It's one. What's her name? What is her name? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to find her name. Hmm. Robin Leffler. Robin Leffler, played by Ashley Judd, I think. Robin Leffler. Ashley Judd. Yep. Ashley Judd. Good episode. kind of weird because it's a game. It's a very addictive game, almost like a drug, and it keeps the it keeps your focus away from what's important. Um, and it's a good brain game, but the result is just bad. It's not. This is not a bad episode at all, really. Um, but it takes a while for the people to find out what the heck is going on. So, yeah, the game isn't okay. It's a yeah, addictive mind controlling game. It's an okay episode. Next is Unification Part Two. Wait, we skipped number one. There you go. Huh? Oh, wait, hold on. Unification Part One. There we go. So Unification Part One and Two. Unification's a real my one of my favorite episodes, and the oh, I'm sorry. Now we're going forward. Unification's a really good one. Um uh I love the dialogue between Spock and Picard. I almost kind of memorized the first few lines of Unification Part Two and part of in the very end of Part One. Um, I'm not as you guys know, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan at all of the original series, really. But I am a fan of Mr. Spock, and this is one of my favorite episodes of all of the entire series. It's this one, and again, Denise Crosby comes back for this one. This is the third, well, third, fourth time we see. No, third time. I'm sorry, third time we see her in the series as yeah, third time. Third time. Trying to get my facts straight. So Unification is a really good episode. It's one of the big ones that's well known among critics and fans. Besides yesterday's Enterprise and Best of Both Worlds. So let's continue with the next one. The next one's A Matter of Time. This was a kind of a weird one. A time traveler thinking he's from the future, but he's actually from the past, and he he steals uh, personal items from people. Worf's bat'leth, I think. Well, Worf's one of Worf's weapons, not the bat'leth, but the other one. Uh, this guy, the actor did pretty good in this, uh, but it's a little weird. It's a weird episode. It's weird in a good way, but also weird in a bad way. Um, I'm not. What can I give him out of five? I would give it a 3 out of 5. To be honest with you, with this episode, 3 out of 5. Next one is no. Go back. The heck was that? I pressed the wrong button. Why did I press that button for? Stupid. After I'm out of time, it is new ground. Let's see, Soloton Way. That's pretty cool. Oh yes, Miss Kyle, the teacher. Uh, Helena Rishenko comes to the Enterprise, and she brings Alexander back to Worf, saying that Worf has to take care of his son now. Alexander's been known to be uh, a liar. And in this episode, Alexander Rishenko is a little bit of a thief, too. He's got some growing up to do. And Worf's got his work cut out for him. Worf's got his work cut out for him in this episode. Michael Dorn did really, really well in this episode, and so did the kid. The kid did pretty good. Rashenko is played. Alex is played by um, who is Alex played by? What was his name? The kid from Blank Check, I think. Get this name down here. Alex. Brian Munzel. Yeah, that's him. Brian did very good in this film, in this episode. So I'm gonna give him kudos on that. Next is Hero Worship. Another one of Brent's great episodes. This young kid, Timothy, what's his last name? Just Timothy. You don't know his last name. Timothy is a survivor of an attack on a ship, and he is rescued by, of course, by Riker and Data. Data initially, and as an only survivor, as an orphan now, he takes he makes Data into sort of a father figure, sort of, and hence the hero worship there. Again, this is Brent's one of Brent's best episodes. Being a father figure, even though he's an android, and this is long after um, the Offspring, long after. And the hero, and also the hero worship goes a little too far in Timothy's on Timothy's side. So, but all the actors do really good. Next, after hero worship, is Violations. Yeah, this one I didn't care for. This one I really didn't care for. Crazy old woman, and her son is mentally seducing um, um, Troy. Yeah, I, I I'm not a big fan of this one, to be honest with you. So this gets a two out of 5 on this one. Next, the violations is this is a one. This is a one. I don't get this I don't get this episode at all. Masterpiece Society. I give this a 1 out of 5. This is the worst uh, and least directional. It's an episode that has no direction at all. Um, Not a big fan of this episode. So Masterpiece Society is the worst. Violations being the second worst uh, episodes in this season so far. Night Terrors is the worst in the series. I know that. We know that. But this comes on the number 2 worst episode in the series. After Masterpiece Society, it is Conundrum. This is a good one. This is actually a good one. I think this character is in. I guess the word is incinerated. Is incinerated, not blown up like Remick was blown up in an earlier episode from the last season or two seasons ago. Um, this is actually this is a good one where all the major characters, all the bridge officers lose their memory um, by this guy, by Saturn, I think is his alien name. This is a good episode. I like this one. It got confusing at first, but when I first saw it, but it is a good episode. Power play. Oh, this one's a okay one. It's not the worst. Data and Troy, Brent and Marina do pretty good, being sort of like demon, not demon possessed. They're possessed by spirits of dead people from a planet, and O'Brien as well. They all do really good, but I don't think this episode did well with critics. I don't think it did. But it's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. After Power Play is Ethics. Oh yes, Ethics. This is one of Michael Dorn's best episodes. He gets injured. He breaks his back. He wants to kill himself in honorable tradition, and the crew basically is telling him it's not a good idea. Uh, Crusher won't let him kill himself. Um, Riker won't kill him, and this Dr. Toby Russell, she tries to get. This is a good episode for Crusher as well. Gates McFadden. This Dr. Toby Russell, comes in and says, um, "There's a new experimental surgery, and Worf is the first trial in this experimental surgery." And Crusher Crusher's not too keen on this surgery, but Toby Russell gets her way. At first, Worf dies. Uh, his hearts stop working. But then, after a while, his redundancy program in his body, in the Klingon anatomy, um, do their not magic, but they do their work, and they revive Mr. Worf. Uh, so, but this is a good episode for Michael Dorn and Gates McFadden. Both of them get kudos for such a good job. Next is the Outcast. This was a very controversial episode. Very controversial. Uh, because the whole same sex, bisexual, no sexual orientation, no sexual identity, that was not well known in the world until now, in the 2020s. Having an episode like The Outcast back in the 90s was unheard of. Having these uh, things. Now, granted, there were, of course, transsexuals back in the 90s. We know that, but this is, I believe, was a very controversial episode for that time. Um, Maybe not as controversial today, but back in the time it was, and I'm sure a lot of people had opinions on this. A lot of people had opinions, the writers as well. After the Outcast is, oh, this is an interesting one. Cause and effect. The ship is in a loop, so everything repeats itself. They go through the loop and they start all over. Start all over. And it all happened because another ship came in and the Enterprise, I believe, fired first. I think so. Or the other ship. And this is a Kelsey Grammer cameo in this. It's a weird episode, but it's good, because they realize, did we do this before? They're at the poker table, as you see in the picture there. They're at the poker table, and they think, okay, I've seen these cards before. I know what this guy's move's going to be. If is he going to raise? Is he going to check? Is he going to call? You know, I see. I know what card the dealer's going to give out. I know the sequence of the cards. It's it's just really weird episode, but good, weird and good at the same time. So, um, and I think we get a picture of Kelsey Grammer. There he is, Captain Morgan Batesman of the Bozeman. So this is a good episode. Cause and effect. Wonder how many times they have to do that same scene over and over during production. The first duty of every officer is to the truth. Great. This one of the Picard's best speeches in any episode is this one, especially when it concerns uh, cadets like this. You got Cito, you got Wesley, and you got Mr. Locarno, who's I don't know who this officer is, but now I know that's Ensign Cito, Cito Jaxa, Wesley, and Locarno, and that is Tom Paris in Voyager. Everyone knows that. Robert Duncan McNeil. Um, this is a very good episode, and was and we got a good um, a good few lines from Boothby in this one too. So really well done. One of Patrick Stewart's best episodes, I think. The causality loop. No, not the causality, the Jaeger loop. And the what's the other move? The what's it called? I gotta look it up here. Something starburst. Uh oh yeah, Joshua Albert is killed by a stunt. Nova Squadron. Nicholas Locarno Boothby. Diamond slot formation. That's the one. Diamond slot formation. This is a really good episode. Um, Patrick Stewart did amazing. Again, the speech is one of his best about the truth, being firm in the truth, telling the truth. Cost of living. Oh gosh, this is probably one of the worst. Again, another one of the worst episodes. Like Masterpiece Society, Night Terrors. I did not like this one. I did not like this one. Way too much Luxwana Troy in this one. Um, Not a good one. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna skip cost of living. The perfect mates again. Uh, two 2 out of 5. I don't like this one. Yes, we've got Famke Jensen in this one. We got Dr. Jean Grey in this one. The future Dr. Jean Grey. But I'm not a fan. Not a fan of this one, to be honest with you. Not a fan. Next is Imaginary Friend. This was when I first saw this. This was scary. This was a scary episode when I first saw this back in the day. Some girl having an imaginary friend and not the friend she wanted after a while. Clara, yeah. Imaginary friend Isabella, yeah. It's a good episode, but it's weird, you know. A not so friendly imaginary friend. Weird, weird. Good acting by both the girls, the young girls, but not a big fan of this one. I Borg is the first time we see um, Jonathan Del Arco as third of 5, also known as Hugh. And Hugh was a good one. This is probably one of the best episodes here. Is I Borg, and I want to give kudos to Jonathan Del Arco for doing such a great job with the makeup, having to deal with the heavy suit he had to wear and everything. Great job on everybody. So one of my favorites is this one. Next, after I Borg, is the next phase. This was a good one. Michelle Forge is back. This is a good one where potentially they die, but they don't. It's another transporter accident. The first transporter accident we saw had to do not saw, but we learned about is duplicate Rikers, and that was in Second Chances, which is a later episode, I think. Um, this was a good one. They're having a party to remember LaForge and Rolaren. All the time, there's little clues that are still around. And of course, Data saves the day, of course. Data solves the problem. And also a Romulan experienced the same thing. They were looking at, oh, they were checking out a Robin ship that uh, could have had a warp core breach. I think it was. Um, this is a good episode. I like this one. After the next phase is the inner. This is the most well liked, well rewarded episode is the inner light. Um, everyone knows about this episode. Best best acting, best makeup, best storyline, original script, etc., etc., etc. One of Patrick Stewart's best performances in his career, besides his Shakespeare stuff. This is really good. I like this episode, The Inner Light. Next, after The Inner Light, Time's Arrow. This one's kind of a weird. Why would Data die? Why would Data be transported all the way back to the 19th century? They have to go back in time and they find Data's head in the future in the current timeline. How in the world did Data get back to 19th century in the first place? And why was he there? We get introduced into the Davidians for the first time. And the Davidians later show up in Star Trek Online. If you know that, if you're aware of that game, really interesting. And this is a two-parter as well. This is a two-parter. So we are now getting into season 6. Whoopi Goldberg did pretty good in this one, I have to say. And the actor who played Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, he also played the father in When the Bout Breaks, when he was kidnapping the kids. When the Bout Breaks, I think that's I think it's season 2. No, that's season. No, that's season 1. Season 1, I believe. After Time's Arrow is Realm of Fear. This is where Barkley sees really ugly worms, but it's another transporter accident where real people get trapped in the transporter stream in the buffer, and are turned into these aliens. It's really weird, really weird. This is one of the weirdest episodes for Dwight Schultz, but he did a pretty good job on this. He's a nervous, very nervous. Um, I don't know if Barkley's shy, but he's always nervous. He's always jittery. He's he's underconfident. You know, if you know Barkley at all, and you can just read his description in Memory Alpha if you want to. Um, but this is one of Dwight Schultz's best episodes. Is this one, Realm of Fear? Next, Man of the People. This is when Deanna Troy uh, gets old. And let's see. An ambassador who grows old as well. This is a weird episode too. Weird in a bad way. So I'm not a real big fan of Man of the People. Great makeup artist, great makeup work here on Marina Sirtis, but not the best. After Man of the People is Relics. We love Relics. James Doohan comes back as Scotty. Great episode. This is one of my favorites. Um, there was a novel based on this. There's a novel based on Unification. There's a Star Trek novel based on. I believe there's one based on Descent as well. I think so. Yeah, Descent. Um, but Relics is one of my favorites. There's some good, funny parts, especially you want to have a good laugh. Watch the scene with drunk Scotty, a very drunk Scotty, with Albedarian whiskey. Um, this is a really good episode, really good one. Next, after Relics, is Schisms. This is this was a weird one. You hear clicking, you always hear clicking sound. People can't get to sleep, and they realize, oh, during the night they're taken to somewhere in subspace, and they're experimented on. It's weird. Not the weirdest episode of Schisms ever. The weirdest. Oh, did I do that right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did that right. Weirdest episode I've ever seen. Very weird. True Q. Ah, this is the Lady Q. Amanda is that her name? Amanda. She's a young intern in sick bay. She finds out she has Q powers. Amanda Rogers, yeah, Amanda Rogers. Good episode. Great return by John Delancey. One of John Delancey's best episodes is him, this Q, teaching this girl, Amanda Rogers, how to control her powers, which is cool. True Q is a good one. Rascals is one of my favorites, where Ro, Dynan, and Picard, another transporter accident. They come back as their younger selves, and they have to fight some Ferengi. They have to stop the Ferengi from taking over the ship. So this is one of my favorites. All the young kids, and of course the young Picard is also Rene, the nephew of Picard, the son of Robert and Marie. So great acting by all the kids here. Kids at the time, now they're all adults, I'm sure. Fistful of Datas, another Patrick Stewart directed episode. Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is probably the best and funniest episode. Worf being a sheriff, number one. Data, there's a there's a holodeck accident, excuse me. And Data is playing the father, the son in the jail, the Mexican dude. Uh, oh, it is the guy in the saloon. Uh, the lady at the saloon too, Miss Annie. Gosh, it's Fistful of Day is my favorite. Uh, Great comedy, great acting, great dialogue. Um, really good. So love this one. 5 out of 5 on this one for sure. 5 out of 5 for best of both worlds. 5 out of 5 for um, unification. Quality of life. This is another one. Exocomps. We see exocomps for the first time, and exocomps are now used in Star Trek: The Fleet Command. Are the exocomps sentient? I believe that's the question in this episode, and it's directed by Jonathan Frakes. And I think yes. Um, exocomps are sentient in a way. So that's my belief. Next, chain of command. Oh my gosh, Patrick Stewart. One besides Inner Light, this is one of his best episodes. Um, this gentleman is Captain Jellicoe, Edward Jellicoe. Jellicoe. I think he came back for something. What did he come back for? Jellicoe came back for. Jellicoe is Edward Jellicoe. The USS Cairo. Jellicoe came back for something. Ronnie Cox were really good, really good episode for him. So well done to Ronnie Cox. Ronnie came back. He came back for something. I forget what it was. Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox. I think he came back for. What was it for? Star Trek Online? Star Trek Prodigy. There you go. Admiral Edward Jellicoe. Jellicoe was also featured in a book uh, where he is actually placed under arrest for being a part of a sort of a conspiracy to assassinate the Federation president, I believe, in one of the books, one of the Star Trek books, later books. Um, let's see. We can go back to Edward Jellicoe. I think there's an apocrypha area for Jellicoe. Yeah. Let's see. He, he's an admiral at Starbase 5. Appears in A Time to Heal. Interesting. Triangle and Zodium before dishonor. Let's see. Edward Jellicoe. I think he was placed under arrest for something. Try to find him. No. Memory beta? Yeah, I think so. Oh, he was. Oh, Destiny Novel, Mere Mortals. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Where was he? New Frontier. Before Dishonor, Mere Mortals, New Frontier, Diamond's Bluff. Let me look this up. Edward Jellicoe, Captain, Star Trek, arrested. I'm Beta. I think I just saw this one. Can't find where he was arrested. New Frontier novel. Hmm. Time to heal. I think later his losing a piece. That's the one. Yeah. Available light. Yeah. Available light and losing a piece. Shows Edward Jellicoe um, losing, resigning, and being placed under arrest. That's the one. So available light and losing peace, both are good books to read. But then he came back in such a prodigy. But Chain of Command is really good. David Warner, the late great David Warner, who was Chancellor Gorgon, really well done in this episode too. So Chain of Command, and this is the top. This could be controversial as well, because of the torture scene uh, with Picard, but it's still a very, very good episode. Ship in a Bottle. Daniel Davis comes back as Professor Moriarty, and Moriarty, through some accident, is able to walk out of the holodeck and roam the ship. How in the world is that possible? They realize that they never left the holodeck. Something doesn't sound right, look right. LaForge, Data throws something at LaForge, and LaForge catches it with the wrong hand. Yeah, something's not right. Someone said something, put an order in, and it screwed the whole system up. But this is a really good episode. Really good. Aquiel. Uh, not one of the best episodes. Not one of the worst. And you've heard me describe that with other episodes, so place it in there. Um, uh, I feel for Jordy, man. I feel for Jordy. I really do. Face of the enemy. Ah, Deanna Troy plays a Romulan undercover. This is not a well known or well received. I don't think it is well received episode. But I have to give kudos to Deanna Troy, to Marina Sirtis, for doing the makeup for Romulan. Really interesting. I'll have to watch the whole episode again. Tapestry. Uh, Picard is reliving his academy days. He goes to the alternate universe under Q, where he's not captain, but he's a signs officer. That's why he was wearing the blue uniform. This is a good episode. We get to see Maurice Picard for the first time. We saw um, Yvette Gassard, Picard's mother, in this uh, in this first episode. But this is a good not we get to see Nausicaans. We know about the game John Jot. Interesting. Next is Birthright. This is one of my favorites. This is one of the first episodes I ever saw when my dad was recording episodes for later viewing. This is one of the first ones I ever saw 30 years ago. So Birthright Part 1 and 2. It's a good one. Love Michael Dorn in this episode. After Birthright, Starship Mine. This is pretty good. Enterprise is going through some kind of a sweep uh, for something. Barian sweep, that's one. And there's terrorists aboard who try to steal stuff from the Enterprise. And Picard looking for his saddle for a horse. Uh, he realized he misplaced, or he couldn't find his saddle. He found the saddle, but realized it's too late to leave the ship. So he has to take matters into his own hands and make sure he keeps the ship as it was. Next episode is Lessons. This one's a this one's a good one. The music in this one's really nice. Patrick Stewart's pretty good on this. Um, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I would say this one. The chase. Oh, this is a good one with the late great Norman Lloyd. Norman Lloyd, who was the oldest actor in Hollywood until very recently. He passed away at the age of 107, I believe it was. We get to see Salome Jens for the first time. She later plays a female changeling in Deep Space Nine. Um, really good episode in this one. Interesting, interesting discoveries. Um, at point A, point B, point B. So, but this is a good one. Frame of mind. Frame of mind. Oh, this is Jonathan Frakes' best performance. He thinks he's in a play. He goes undercover on the mission, and they trap him, and they make him think he's still in the play, but he's not in the play. He's in a psychiatric ward, but he's not portraying it as being in a psychiatric ward. It's, it's weird, but Jonathan did really good in this one. One of Jonathan Frakes' best performances in the series is that one. Suspicions. This is a good one for Gates fan. I really like this one. There's a murder, and she breaks Starfleet rule. This is a really good episode. I may not get to season. I'm not going to get to season 7 tonight. Rightful Air is a good one too. Great Klingon episode. There's Kayla's clone, played by Kevin Conway. Not a bad episode. This is a good one. I'm sorry, folks. I think I'm kind of dozing off here. I do apologize. Second chances. Yeah, we get to see the duplicate Riker, Thomas Riker and Will Riker here. Um, again, like Brent Spiner, um, this is a good episode where an actor plays two characters at the same time. A lot of stunt work in this episode, I'm sure. So this is a good one. This is a good one. Second chances. Next is Timescape. Uh, let's see. Sorry. Timescape. I'm not sure about this one. They have moments of freezing. Um, it's weird. Adam Nimoy directed this one. Interesting. Um, it's an okay episode. Give it 2 out of 5. Descent point one. Descent. This is a good one. Us with Descent. First Descent. Um, it was a good episode. We get to see Lore again in this one, and the Borg. Data is experiencing anger and he doesn't know where it came from, why it's This is a really good episode. I'm gonna do season 7 tomorrow, folks. It's getting a little late, so I hope you enjoyed season 5 and 6 opinion for this series. I hope you have a great night.